Hello, my friends, my family, and my fans. I am Andrew Ditch. I have been diagnosed with autism and intellectual disability. Today, I am making a video to support my argument as to why people on social media are wrong. On my recent videos where I show why climbing stairs, wiping myself, can't recognize the cold, and self-care issues that document my disability. I do not need to prove to social media my disability and needs I have. I'm not doing this to prove to strangers off the internet the issues I deal with due to mental disability. What I'm going to do is defend myself from the lies. At Sue Salt PNW said, "This sounds like schizo shit, Andy. You're spreading medical misinformation. I'm reporting you to YouTube and DHS." I say go for it. It is not medical misinformation. Watch this full video why this is not medical misinformation. That is the evidence you need. At Alyssa Dan said, "Yup, he's schizo ADP. He has made up symptoms that don't exist in ASD. If I made up symptoms that don't exist in ASD, then my doctors, physical therapist, occupational therapist, speech-language pathologist, psychologist, neurologist, urologist, endocrinologist, psychiatrist, audiologist, physiologist, and medical doctors are misleading me with written reports and test results." At Physilist17 said, "There is zero evidence of human beings having 2-4x zoom eyes." I looked it up. You are right at Physilist17. The 2 and 4x zoom are examples of how I see distance when crossing the street. This is why it is not safe for me to cross the street. In my other videos on this channel, when I climb stairs, cook, or wipe myself are also evidence to support my problems with the way my brain processes the sensory input. This is supported in my 1993 medical record for how I misinterpreted social and environmental cues and problems of processing information. At Chris C. QH4IO said, "If you saw things differently, you would never realize it or know others don't see it that way. You are not smart enough to fool anyone, Andy. This is just another example of you being manipulative, but keep it up showing everyone you are a liar and how capable you are at using the internet, AI, and making /posting videos. You can't cherry pick what you want to do versus what you can do." At Chris C. QH4IO is right about this. However, I work with medical professionals who help me learn that I do process information differently for what others would. That is not a thought disorder. This is a processing disability. That is why I am diagnosed with autism and not schizophrenia. I'm not making this up. I'm not self-diagnosing myself. I am only repeating what my doctors put in writing and tell me. At James Hunter, G4J, said, "You continue to research things and then say you're suffering from them. It's absolute nonsense. You made that creepy video about typing and wiping where you filmed yourself typing extremely slow. We've all heard you furiously typing out emails to APS way faster than the average person. It's lies after more lies." At James Hunter, G4J is wrong about me researching things to say I suffer from. I have these symptoms and deficits reported since I was born. If I was researching these things to claim I am suffering, then why did my doctors in 1993 say I had these same symptoms? I am capable of using a computer like any other person with autism and intellectual disability. My intellectual disability is mild, and if it was severe or profound, I would not be able to use a computer. People with autism and intellectual disability rely on the internet to learn about their disability and the resources to support their disability and to learn about different treatment options. Technology is also a primary source of social interactions for most autistic and intellectual disability. By claiming I can type and use technology does not dismiss my disability and need to be cared for by others. Typing with word prediction spell check is a valid form of communication for autistic. It is clear in the disability world how autistic and intellectual disabled adults rely on assisted technology. It is why Medicare and Medicaid pays for it. At Teratetradon said that is not how autism works. That's probably legal blindness, which Andy Siri clearly does not have. That is not up to you or me to say. That is up to my doctors who say this. At Teratetradon, that is why I see a doctor for. I don't like you making fun of me. At Unnamed, F8F said at Teratetradon, yes, You're right, this is on the left picture on thumbnail, is the eye vision problem is viewed. At unnamed, F8F, I don't like you picking on me. At James Hunter, G4J, said perhaps you're thinking of Andy's time blindness. It has plagued him since last week. At James Hunter, G4J, I don't like how you pick on me. At Igloo Voltaire, said, he reads the DSM, whatever version is current, and checks off the boxes. Seems like his dad learned how to get him a check when he was young. At Igloo Voltaire, I don't like you assuming something not true. At I Love Bamanyets said, Andy, are you saying that you are an undocumented person and in danger of deportation? A lot of people are scared to go out. It's just not safe to have an undocumented intellectual disability. ICE could kill someone for having a head banging meltdown, even though the only one in danger is you. Be careful. At I Love Bamanyets, I am a person with a disability. I'm documented as having a disability. I'm also a U.S. citizen. This makes me belong in society and in the community. And Mr. Moos said, he does not have any intellectual disabilities. He is very capable. At Mr. Moos, I am ignoring this lie. At Loki Martin, I6S said, Andy doesn't have an intellectual disability. He's lying. He looks up symptoms of what he thinks autism is on YouTube, and then mimics them when most of them are from outdated movies. At Loki Martin, I6S that is a lie, and I am not mimicking anything when these symptoms and behaviors and limitations have been reported all of my life by multiple psychologists, psychiatrists, speech-language pathologists, occupational therapists, physical therapists, physiologists, endocrinologists, podiatrists, urologists, gastroenterologists, neurologists, teachers, audiologists, ophthalmologists, and mental health therapists. In this YouTube video, Autism Simulation, how it's like walking on the streets with autism, on at AU, who is also autistic processing things very similar to me. That is proof of my sensory issues and my symptoms are real. Because of all the medical experts I saw since birth have reported the same limitations, symptoms, and care needs, all my life supports, I am not learning to be disabled, not faking, and not mimicking what I see online. I am a person. I have a disability. I am not being manipulative for expressing myself, sticking up for my needs, repeating what professionals have told me, and making complaints.
a greeting.
Why can other people with autism and intellectual disability share their life struggle and experience with others to educate and bring awareness to disability needs? Why do every one of you lie about me and try to manipulate the narrative of my life and diagnosis when it is not true? I have never been interested in sex, a girlfriend, and have a hard time understanding others, and others have a hard time understanding me. Why would I get aroused when a nurse touches my area to wipe me down and change my diaper? Babies get this too. They are not sexual. Change in temperature, bladder pressure, and being touched causes an automatic nervous system response. This is not sexual. I am not forcing anyone to wipe me or play in my fetish when I am documented since birth of having urinary and bowel accidents and having diaper rashes and poor hygiene. That supports a medical need to this care and support, not a fetish or choice. I never poisoned my family. I was abused and neglected by my dad, who was my caregiver and is my legal guardian. My dad paid for the Greyhound bus and put me on the bus to West Virginia. The reason why he did that, he cannot take care of me, and he was being investigated for neglect and abuse of me and mom. Why else would my mom fall and constantly go to the hospital for? Does that mean my dad did that on purpose? No. What he does on purpose is not fight for the care I need and makes me sound capable of doing things and wanting my sass wiped. If I chose to be disabled, I can easily write a letter to social secretary to say I am not wanting my benefits as I am told I don't have a disability. Let's watch one more video from an autistic person. What's it like to walk down a street when you have autism or an ASD on it weaveneth too? I get that this video, the user shows over-exaggeration to what I go through. I am not going to call this person a liar, as I cannot know how he perceives things. Now let's take a look why school was so hard for me to learn and interact with others. Sound of the School Hallway, the Autistic Sensory Experience, Part 5 of 8, at Autism Ontario channel. Teachers yelled at me for touching the walls. That helped me cope with the sounds and lights and problems with social interactions. I freeze and panic too, like fire alarms. Now let's watch this video from someone who lives with schizophrenia. Realistic Schizophrenia Simulation, Animus 7737 YouTube channel. I do not have these hallucinations. What I deal with walking down the street or unable to take care of myself is not a hallucination, as you can hear the noise of the same things around me. I'm not delusional to believe I am disabled or something I am not. Medical records with documented symptoms and behaviors and deficits are why I am not making this up or faking anything.
Where am I? Where are you going? Look out!
This is pointless. Even that kid knows you're stupid. Everyone knows you're stupid.
Don't go in there. Don't go in there.
Nobody cares about you. Why do you even try? Why do you even bother?
What are you looking for?
Everything's listening to you.
You don't deserve happiness.
The wine bottles.
See, they're laughing.
She's looking at you. They're looking at you.
Everybody laughs at you.
Everybody's talking about you. Because
Go
you're
ahead,
make you fat.
get some ice cream.
You don't want that.
worthless.
It'll make you fatter than you already
You've never
are.
been born.
Worthless. Pointless.
Look out.
All the alcohol. Just
Trash.
take it all.
Poison.
No, don't take that one. No, go over to the other one.
It's poison.
Grab a wine bottle.
Go ahead.
A couple bottles of booze. Just
Drink it. Eat
drink
it.
it until you're
Look out.
passed out. Nobody cares.
Pointless.
Where did they go?
Nobody loves you. No one could.
Some junk food.
They don't
Scream.
care.
The people. They're talking about you.
Even
They're,
he can't
you're
even
such a
look at you.
loser. Oops, he's walking away because you stink. You smell.
Why do you
calling cops.
bother?
You're stupid.
They're fake
He's got his back
smiles.
turned you because he doesn't like you.
Going to get you.
And she's leaving because you're worthless.
You should have never
Oh
been
yeah,
born.
go ahead. Grab it all. Eat all the food.
Don't touch that.
Eat it all.
Don't
Why
touch
do you
that.
bother getting out of bed?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how fat you get.
What are you thinking?
Go ahead. Don't eat
You
that
don't
one.
want that.
Don't drink that one. Go get some
You're
alcohol.
going to die.
Go get the ice cream. There's the. Oh, you
Give
turned
up.
that one. Oh, the lights.
There.
The lights.
Where'd they go?
The lights are
Where are they?
whispering.
It's you.
They're whispering to you. They're calling your
Oh,
name.
they're after you. Look out. She
Disgust
knows.
me.
She knows.
Drink me, drink me.
Even he doesn't like you.
They're talking about you.
He's calling the cops.
You're worthless. You're stupid.
You can't trust him.
You
Don't trust him.
That's what they're
yourself.
thinking. Oh, yeah.
can't
They're
trust
talking about you.
Can't say I blame you. You don't even deserve to be looked at.
What do you
The
think?
TV. They're saying bad things. The news. They're talking
What's the
about you.
point of it?
Get out.
Because you're stupid.
What's the point?
You're worthless.
No, no.
He can't even look at you.
He can't even look at you. Look at him. He can't even look at you. You're so disgustingly
He
ugly.
knows.
You're gross.
He's going for his
He's
gun.
just gonna
His gun.
Deserve it. You're not worth it.
give you the money. You should just leave.
You should
Door.
just run.
You need to get out.
Just get out of
Get
here.
out.
See?
Get out.
Can't even
Just
look at you.
run. Just steal it.
You're disgusting.
Steal it, you thief.
And those girls
Go.
are just staring at you and looking at you.
That's right,
talking about
thief.
you 'cause you're so
Run.
You're
stupid.
outside. You're still not safe.
He's not even going to bother to
It's
call the
dark.
cops. Yeah, so you want to steal that too? Steal a movie. Go ahead, I know you want to. That's always you. Worthless.
Get out.
That truck.
There they are.
Pointless waste of space.
There they are.
Cars. They're all talking about
To your
you.
left.
The movies.
Run.
All the movies are about you and how disgusting you are.
Just walk in front of that truck.
Yeah, be careful.
What's the point? Worthless.
It's not safe.
Pure water.
Now you're outside. You're running away from everything.
You're not even pure.
Go back to that store and face it. Face all those people there because they think you're stupid. They hate you.
Wasting your
Where are you
time.
Everybody
going?
hates you. The world hates
Where are you going?
Wasting
The
everyone's
cars
time.
hate you. The sidewalk hates you. Night
You're
lights
not
hate
going
you.
in the traffic light.
McDonald's hates you. That
Trash.
flag right
not
there
gonna walk in the
hates
car.
you.
Garbage.
You're stupid.
Kill yourself.
Might as well just walk out in the middle of traffic and let
Do
them
it.
run over you.
Go.
Do it.
Pointless.
Kill yourself.
They're everywhere.
Kill yourself.
They're everywhere.
Do
Run.
it.
Run.
Do it.
Run.
Kill you. Kill you. Die.
Nobody cares.
You think you're safe, but you're not.
Nobody.
You think home is safe. Do you think they will
There's
stop?
no getting away from it.
They know where you
You're
are.
not alone.
You're never safe.
Everybody.
You're never safe. You're never safe.
I'm not being told that I'm not capable. I'm not being told I'm stupid. I'm not being told to do anything. I am worth the help to take my medications, to sleep in a clean bed, to live in a safe and clean living environment, to have food to eat, to drink, and to socialize and participate in workforce and community activities. These are human needs and not wants. That is what makes my needing for help a human right to the care and accommodations. I'm not manipulating others to force them to wipe me or care for me or do things for me. I need the help. I have extreme high blood pressure, dehydration, severe pain from falls, severe pain from diaper rash, and other medical issues as a result of others. I cannot make anyone do anything. That is their choice to do their own thing. I can only control what I can do. If I cannot do something and I get hurt or sick from it or it affects my well-being or emotional issues, then I can choose to sue or make complaints to protect myself. You chose to deny me help. I can sue for your discrimination and refusal. Why is this non-speaking autistic person allowed to use speech-generating device, talk about his autism, and still be a music theorist? I'm not able to talk about my autism and intellectual disability or use technology to help me function in society. The Neuroscience of Autism, Foot 12 Tone from Neurotransmissions talks about this.
Researchers talk about the normal human brain. There really isn't any such thing. But trying to understand how brains vary is valuable because it helps us understand how differences in the structure and function of the brain lead to differences in behavior. Hey there, Brainiacs! I'm Allie Astrocyte. This week, I want to talk about one particular type of variation in the human brain. Autism. Our friend Corey is here to share his personal experiences with us. Hey Corey, thanks for being here.
Hey, Allie.
Corey is the creator and host of 12 Tone, a channel where he breaks down your favorite songs and explains the core concepts of music theory. Corey is also autistic, so he has personal experience with this topic.
Yep, I was diagnosed as a child, although no one actually told me until I was 15. It's taken me a long time to figure out what it means, and I think I'm still in that process, but just knowing the term has been really helpful. It's a good way to remind myself that I'm not broken and that there are other people out there dealing with the same stuff.
I want to start by saying something important here. While the scientific and medical literature call autism a disorder, that does not make it a disability. When we talk about autism, we often talk about deficits, but that should not limit us from seeing the person as a whole. The only people who really get to decide what autism is are the people who have it.
It can be difficult to explain what the experience of autism is like because I've never gotten the chance to try living without it. It's a part of who I am and it affects pretty much every aspect of my life, but given how complex personalities are, it's basically impossible to tell which things are the result of my autism and which things are just me. In fact, I don't really think there's a point in differentiating between the two. I think it's easy to assume that all autistic people are basically the same, but each of us has a different experience with the condition and with life in general. After all, we're still people.
Exactly. Autism is a really complicated condition. It's defined by a set of behaviors, and it exists on a spectrum, meaning that it affects individual people differently, and to varying degrees. It's actually now called Autism Spectrum Disorder, or ASD, to encompass the broad span of symptoms and severity. And it affects a lot of people. In 2016, the CDC released a report that nearly 1 in 70 kids in the US is autistic. There's no single underlying genetic or environmental cause for ASD, so there's no easy blood test to figure out if you have it or not. Instead, doctors screen for certain developmental delays and behavioral patterns beginning at about 18 months of age.
Symptoms of autism include language delays, difficulty with eye contact and nonverbal communication, sensory avoidance or conversely sensory seeking, and stereotyped behaviors, including obsessive special interests, repetitive actions, and stimming, short for self-stimulation, which involves intentionally creating specific sensory inputs in order to calm down, like rubbing your hands on certain textures or making soothing noises. But what causes these symptoms in the first place?
First off, let's just get this out there. Vaccines do not cause autism. There is no link between the rate of vaccination and likelihood of an autism diagnosis. And, like I said before, there's no single underlying cause of autism. It really seems to be a combination of environmental factors and genetics. Some genetic mutations and disorders, like Fragile X syndrome, are associated with high rates of ASD, and having a parent or sibling with ASD makes it far more likely that someone will have ASD themselves.
Over 100 genes have been linked to the condition, but none of them seem to cause it. What's more likely is that certain environmental factors, like if a mom has a fever while she's pregnant, combined with genetic traits, come together in a perfect storm, resulting in ASD. So what makes our brains different? Even though a diagnosis is based on behavioral screening, scientists are learning that there are some key differences between the brain of someone with ASD and someone without.
Right. When looking at overall brain size, autistic kids between 2 and 4 years old have, on average, a bigger brain than their non-ASD counterparts. That difference isn't seen in older kids, though, which scientists think means that there's a difference in the rate of brain growth in early childhood. Researchers have also found that autistic kids have more gray matter than usual, without showing a similar growth in white matter.
Gray matter, which got its name because, well, it kinda looks gray, is full of neuronal cell bodies, dendrites, synapses, and glial cells. It's sort of where the magic of synaptic signaling happens. It's critical for all kinds of things like muscle control, sensory perception, memory, emotion, and even decision-making. White matter, on the other hand, looks white because it mostly consists of myelinated axons. Myelin, which is the insulation around axons that helps them send signals faster, looks kinda white. White matter is like a bunch of XLR cables hooked up to a mixing board. It speeds up the signals, adjusts them as needed, and coordinates communication between brain regions.
So what this could mean is that not only could ASD be related to differences in brain development, it could also be related to differences in communication within the brain. People with ASD may have more connectivity in the gray matter and less white matter connecting across brain regions, manifesting in some of the typical behaviors associated with the condition. Certain brain regions seem to be affected by ASD too. One of the theories about why autistic people sometimes struggle with social interaction is that their mirror neuron system develops a bit differently. These neurons are unique because they fire when a person performs an action or when they watch another person perform an action. So just watching my facial expressions or watching Corey draw makes your mirror neurons fire. Cool, right? In kids with ASD, this circuit seems to have a delayed response, which could indicate less signaling.
Changes have also been seen on the microscale. For instance, a bunch of research has found changes in the development of synapses in ASD, which could lead to changes in how neurons are communicating with each other and result in neurons not connecting properly. This could also help explain why autism is frequently associated with epilepsy. Children with autism also tend to have markers of inflammation in their brains. They have increased levels of inflammatory proteins called cytokines, and their microglia, the brain's immune cells, are super active. Because the immune system is a critical part of brain development, this shift could be affecting how the brain is growing during childhood.
Studies using fMRI to examine the dynamic relationships between different brain regions have reported contrasting results. Some say that in ASD, the brain has hyperconnectivity, it's more connected than usual, while others say the opposite. Most of this work has been done in children, usually with the goal of helping identify and diagnose ASD sooner, so kids can start getting the resources they need, if any, to help them as they grow up. But ASD still isn't very well understood on the macro or the micro scale. In fact, labs like mine are hard at work trying to better understand how all kinds of brain cells may be involved in all of these brain differences.
All of the studies we've described today are really just talking about averages. Just like neurotypical brains have a lot of variations, so do autistic ones. Not every brain with ASD will show obvious changes in brain size or connectivity. Just like the symptoms, brain differences exist on a spectrum. There's definitely still plenty of research to be done, but right now I think the most valuable thing we can do is just talk about it. The internet has made it a whole lot easier for autistic people to come together to tell our stories and to advocate for ourselves and for each other. And that's important because without naming names, many major autism advocacy groups have almost no autistic people in positions of real power, and the pictures they wind up painting of us look nothing like our actual lives.
That said, a lot of scientists have worked toward better understanding the brain differences between autistic and neurotypical people. With that knowledge, we can figure out how to best work with autistic kids and develop treatments and therapies to help them navigate their lives and the world. There's a lot of room to grow and understand autism, and we're lucky to have people like Corey who are willing to be so open and honest with us. Corey, thank you so much for joining us today for this video and for sharing your experiences with us.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Corey is a musical genius, and he shares his passion for music theory over a 12-tone. He's an amazing YouTuber and... Recognize any of those, Brainiacs? Then you should check out our other collaboration over at his channel about how our brains can recognize that 190 song, even after hearing it for less than half a second. Thanks for watching this episode of Neurotransmissions. If you liked it, hit that thumbs up button.
See why the internet and technology is a human right and is important for disabled people. Let's show an example of what I'm talking about with 12-tone autism, Linkin Park's most confusing song. At 12-tone, why can't I have my diagnosis with this information to argue my claims? You are a stranger and make it hard for me to get help. You take advantage of my dad's abuse and neglect by not wanting to advocate for me or help me get the help I need.
I'm on Music YouTube recently. You've probably been recommended a video by Michael Jesse called Why Nobody Knows the Chords to Linkin Park's biggest song. The song in question is Breaking the Habit, and he noticed something really weird about it. Everyone who does a cover plays a completely different chord progression unique to their version. And not like in a cool jazz reharmonizing way either. No, it genuinely seems like no one agrees on what the chords are even supposed to be.
Memories consume like opening the wound. Memories consume like opening a wound. Memories consume. Opening the room.
So why is that? It's a fascinating question, and Michael's analysis is thorough and compelling. I'm not at all surprised the video blew up. But I'm not making this one just to piggyback on his success. No, I'm making it because at the end of his video, he asked me to.
If you want the truth though, I am dying to know what 12-tone thinks about the song. So do me a favor, if you happen to have a Blue Sky account, please post this video at him.
And a lot of you did, which, thanks, I appreciate it. It's a great video, but also, I've seen it now. You can stop. Still, as you probably know, I am never one to back down from a challenge, so sure. Let's give it a shot. Before we get started, if you want to see my next video as soon as it's finished or just watch this one ad-free, you can do that on Patreon. There's a link in the description, more on that at the end of the video. Like I said, I agree with most of Michael's analysis, but the point where my approach differs from his actually happens pretty early on when he says this.
Breaking the habit has chords. Everybody agrees on that.
And like, does it? It has harmony, certainly, I think that's obvious, but that's not quite the same thing. When we're looking for a chord progression, we're assuming what music theorists call vertical harmony, or I've also heard it called salami slice harmony. Basically, the piece of music is divided up into discrete chunks of time, usually either a bar or half a bar. For each chunk, there's one chord in charge, defining what all the musicians are, and more importantly, aren't allowed to play. This is easiest to see when someone's playing all the chord tones at once in some sort of block voicing. But it works just fine with arpeggios too. In those cases, we just need to do some harmonic reduction. Basically, we take all the notes that everyone plays and rearrange them to spell a chord. Here, in the first bar, it's all A's, C's, and E's, so the chord is A minor. The second bar has C's, E's, and G's, so it must be C major, and so on. This might look simple, almost mechanical, but doing it well actually requires a lot of skill, experience, and most of all, judgment. And the most infamous example of that comes from the intro to Stairway to Heaven. Three of these chords are easy to reduce, but what's happening in the second bar? From the bottom, we have G sharp, C, E, and B. In Western music, most chords are built in stacks of thirds, so if we move these notes around, the chord they spell is C augmented major 7.
The link to the video is in the comments and description if you like music like I do. I don't go around pretending to know music or have a math gift when I do not. I do have a unique gift in factual information, such as sharing this information. Lastly, who is Naoki Higashida? Can you pull up on your phone who is Naoki Higashida? It is spelled Naoki-Higashida. Do you see who he is? What is Naoki Higashida diagnosis? Can Naoki Higashida speak? Can Naoki Higashida use a computer? Did Naoki Higashida write a book? Why is Naoki Higashida different from me? Why can Naoki Higashida be aware of his symptoms and how others are different from himself? Let me read to you a few scripts from his book.
Q23 What's the worst thing about having autism? You never notice. Really, you have no idea quite how miserable we are. The people who are looking after us may say, minding these kids is really hard work, you know. But for us who are always causing the problems and are useless at pretty much everything we try to do, you can't begin to imagine how miserable and sad we get. Whenever we've done something wrong, we get told off or laughed at, without even being able to apologize, and we end up hating ourselves and despairing about our own lives, again and again and again. It's impossible not to wonder why we were born into this world as human beings at all. But I ask you, those of you who are with us all day, not to stress yourselves out because of us. When you do this, it feels as if you're denying any value at all that our lives may have, and that saps the spirit we need to soldier on. The hardest ordeal for us is the idea that we are causing grief for other people. We can put up with our own hardships, okay, but the thought that our lives are the source of other people's unhappiness, that's plain unbearable. Q20 Why do you make a huge fuss over tiny mistakes? When I see I've made a mistake, my mind shuts down. I cry, I scream, I make a huge fuss, and I just can't think straight about anything anymore. However tiny the mistake, for me it's a massive deal, as if heaven and earth have been turned upside down. For example, when I pour water into a glass, I can't stand it if I spill even a drop. It must be hard for you to understand why this could make me so unhappy. And even to me, I know really that it's not such a big deal. But it's almost impossible for me to keep my emotions contained. Once I've made a mistake, the fact of it starts rushing toward me like a tsunami. And then, like trees or houses being destroyed by the tsunami, I get destroyed by the shock. I get swallowed up in a moment, and can't tell the right response from the wrong response. All I know is that I have to get out of the situation as soon as I can, so I don't drown. To get away, I'll do anything. Crying, screaming and throwing things, heading out even. Finally, I'll calm down and come back to myself. Then I see no sign of the tsunami attack, only the wreckage I've made. And when I see that, I hate myself. I just hate myself. Q14. Why do you ignore us when we are talking to you? If someone's talking to me from somewhere far off, I don't notice. You are probably thinking, same here, yes. A major headache for me, however, is that even when someone's right here in front of me, I still don't notice when they're talking to me. Not noticing, however, is not the same as deliberately ignoring. But often people assume I must be arrogant or retarded. People around me always make me realize that I'm being spoken to by saying things like, say hello back, then, Naoki, or, what do you say, then? So whenever that happens I just repeat what I've been told to say, like a minor bird learning a new word. Even though I feel guilty toward the person who has spoken to me, I can't even apologize, so I end up feeling miserable and ashamed that I can't manage a proper human relationship. A person who's looking at a mountain far away doesn't notice the prettiness of a dandelion in front of them. A person who's looking at a dandelion in front of them doesn't see the beauty of a mountain far away. To us, people's voices are a bit like that. It's very difficult for us to know someone's there and that they're talking to us, just by their voice, so it would help us a great deal if you could just use our names first to get our attention, before you start talking to us. Q5. Why do you do things you shouldn't even when you've been told a million times not to? How many times do I have to tell you? Us people with autism hear that all the time. Me, I'm always being told off for doing the same old things. It may look as if we're being bad out of naughtiness, but honestly, we're not. When we're being told off, we feel terrible that yet again we've done what we've been told not to. But when the chance comes once more, we've pretty much forgotten about the last time, and we just get carried away yet again. It's as if something that isn't us is urging us on. You must be thinking, is he never going to learn? We know we're making you sad and upset, but it's as if we don't have any say in it, I'm afraid, and that's the way it is. But please, whatever you do, don't give up on us. We need your help. The great statue of Buddha. When you've been on a trip somewhere, have you ever watched someone burst into tears for no obvious reason? Of course there is a reason for it, really, it's just that the person who's crying isn't able to tell you what the reason is. For all you know, the person might be crying for joy, but that might not even occur to you. Well, it's much the same for me. The other day I was visiting a town called Kamakura, where there's this huge statue of Buddha. And when I saw it, I was so deeply moved that I started welling up. It wasn't just Buddha's majesty and dignity, it was the sheer weight of history and generations of people's hopes, prayers and thoughts that broke over me, and I couldn't stop myself crying. It was as if Buddha himself was saying to me, all human beings have their hardships to bear, so never swerve away from the path you're on. Everybody has a heart that can be touched by something. Crying isn't necessarily about sadness or meltdowns or being upset. I'd like you to bear that in mind, if you would. So why and how can Naoki Higashida have autism that is severe and not able to speak, but is able to be aware of himself and others, and what he needs to function? But I have the same diagnosis as Naoki Higashida, but I have intellectual disability and ADHD and other developmental disabilities, and Naoki Higashida doesn't. Why can Naoki Higashida, or all the rest of people like Naoki Higashida get help, but I am not when I have the same needs as all the rest with my condition? Looks like exclusion to me.
You're going to have people taking care of you the rest of your life. At some point, you better learn just because someone wipes your ass doesn't mean you have to kiss theirs. I don't like being picked on for not having help and being alone as a result of my disability. I hope this educates and brings awareness of the situation I am in. If people do not like me, that is your choice. Going to agencies to lie about me as to prevent them from helping me is illegal and exploitation. That is not okay to do just because you don't like me. Strangers do not go out of their way to hurt people they do not know. But these people who I have named and many more have done this to interfere with my healthcare and well-being. This is medical interference from a random person who called the CEO of my home care agency to lie about me being a pedophile and a danger to people that is not true at all. The CEO of Royal Home Care admitted to limited the care I get when he said he prevents certain caregivers from helping me. He also asked this random stranger how to get rid of me as I have a disability and APS put me here. The reason I did not sign a lease is I do not have capacity to make these decisions. APS placed me. The CEO violated my HIPAA. Random strangers who stalk me and lie about me got my caregiver Nicole fired. Not only did these people hurt me, they hurt professionals. The healthcare professionals accepted the lies and rumors. That makes this intentional medical interference. That is a crime. These people have known when I was going to sussy when I never shared that. They knew I was in Cleveland when I did not share that. They knew I was at the City Mission in Erie. They knew I was at UPMC Hammett. They knew I was at the Steelhead Inn, and I never told them this information. I never share my current phone number with anyone. I shared my Text Me Now number to bait these idiots. These people take pictures of me and my caregivers, then use social media to find my caregivers, stalk them and harass them, try to make caregivers afraid of me as death threats, threats of complaints, and more are made to try to prevent me from getting help because strangers have to hurt me. This is more evidence of me not faking or get off sexual for needing diaper changes. This is how professionals got the biased opinion of me. If you're interested in disability topics, such as treatment, support, accommodations, and rights, like this video and subscribe for more inclusive content. I will talk to you on my next video.